It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Good morning. Welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News on this Monday morning, February 27th, 2023, coming to you from perfect day at CocoCay in the Bahamas on the enchantment of the seas. And quite frankly, folks, had I thought about my schedule Friday, I would have done this show early this morning. But since I didn't announce it, I said, no, I can't just, without announcing it, do it like that. So anyway, we're doing the show at the normal time today. However, tomorrow I'll be in Freeport, and that's going to be on the port of call schedule. So probably about 8 o'clock in the morning, we'll go live with the show. And then those of you that catch a replay at 11, it'll be there. I mean, it'll be up and ready to go from, about 8 o'clock on. We do have quite a few news stories catching up from the long weekend. But our top story this morning will be an overboard woman rescued in Washington. 2 crew bodies are found after a tugboat capsizes in Scotland. Galveston adds a surcharge. Japan's restart almost back to pre-pandemic totals. Princess adds some specialty coffee. Norwegian continues with the very popular Meet the Winemaker. And some more itinerary changes, this time on Norwegian Sky. That and a lot more live here this morning at 11 o'clock. If you're listening via the podcast, welcome aboard. As always, you can access the podcast via my blog, which is accessadventure.net, or wherever you get your podcast from. All the big guys, just search for Travel and Cruise Industry News, and up pops the travel guy. Anytime you are listening to the podcast and want to access the video feed, there's a description in the a link in the description of the podcast to click over and catch any pictures or clips that I may be using on today's show. All right, folks, today is National Fried Fish Day. No, it's not. That was Friday. Today's not National Fried Fish Day. Today's National Strawberry Day. Well, I can deal with that. I like strawberries. So I will happily go find some strawberries on the boat today to celebrate National Strawberry Day. Thought it was a little unusual. To me, it's not quite late enough in the season for strawberries, but then maybe I'm thinking about Virginia and not where other people are growing strawberries at this time of year. So anyway, all right, announced about tomorrow's show will be early. That'll be great for you early birds like Nikki that's up in the middle of the night like I am. All right, I do have an announcement, folks. Some of you guys that have shown some interest in the Cruises for Solos with Chillie, Alaska 2023 cruise, whether you're solo or you are a couple, which of course we will happily be traveling with both. But the deadline for deposits is quickly coming up, March the 1st. Now, that's not the deadline for going on the trip totally, but that is the deadline for the special pricing. So you might want to consider that if you're thinking about it. Stick a deposit down, and then you've got some time to deal with beyond that. But anyway, of course, the trip is August the 30th on the Sapphire Princess. It's the southbound that goes from Whittier, that's Anchorage, to Vancouver. And of course, it's got a nice itinerary two glaciers, Glacier Bay and the Hubbard Glacier, and the normal stops, Skagway, Juneau, Ketchikan, and gets into Vancouver. 7-night cruise, and there is special pricing. Interior solos start at $765 plus tax. Ocean views are a little more expensive, but still $888, I think it is, plus tax. The balconies are ridiculously expensive. I don't mind telling you that. They're just, to me, they're awful. Double occupancy starts as low as $547 per person plus tax. And the ocean view, it starts at $635 plus tax. So those have some pretty good rates on them. I don't think you'll find rates like that anywhere else on an Alaska cruise. So, and then it's going to be hosted by yours truly. And our buddy Nate will be along. He'll be on that cruise also. So it's going to be some fun. I will be talking with Nate. I hope by tomorrow. He was having some technical issues this morning. We're going to be talking about some the sled dogs and maybe an excursion up to see them. And of course, if you are interested in any of the whaling tours out of Juneau, just use Chillie's 23. You'll get a 10% discount on any of the whale watching tours from Juneau. So that's on the group cruise coming up August 30th from Anchorage. Got plenty of space left, folks, but it's quickly getting to us on the dates. So I did hear a couple things from some of our fellow travelers. Hot Air Tom has gotten through the Suez Canal and is in Israel now. He went to the whaling wall and was wailing about the money he spent on this trip. I mean, he seems like he's been on a cruise forever down there from Africa all the way up to Israel. I mean, that was quite a trip. It really was. But anyway, he's done some of the normal things in Israel. So he's had difficulty getting me pictures, but I'm sure when they start coming in, there's going to be a bunch of them. And Bethany down in South America is on Azamara, has now gotten off the ship, but she is doing a 3-day added tour in, oh dear, I don't remember where it is, someplace down there. One of the big, I think one of the waterfall areas. Anyway, I'll catch up with them sometime, maybe tomorrow. So, all right, before we get to the news, here's a word from Scoot Around. And I've got to tell you a story about Scoot Around too, but here it is.
Do you have a bad back, bad hips, bad knees, or any other mobility issues? Think about Scoot Around. For scooters, walkers, wheelchairs, even oxygen needs, delivered right to your cabin. Scoot Around for all your mobility needs on your upcoming cruise.
All right, everybody knows the difficulties I had. It wasn't with Scoot Around, it was with the sidewalks and their conditioning in both Charleston and New Orleans recently. And I still was able to cover the area thanks to the Scoot Around scooters. But they were awful to deal with. Both New Orleans and Charleston need to redo all that. Well, yesterday I was in Port Canaveral. And man, if anybody wants to know how to do it right, you need to go look at Port Canaveral. I probably rode close to 5 miles yesterday because it was from the street. It was 1.9 miles to the restaurant where I met Katie and Angela. And of course, that's 1.9 miles back. So that's almost 4 miles right there. And then the distance from the ship, I was trying to figure out how far it was. Ask a couple other people to guess, but You got off the ship, you did the ramp thingies downstairs in Port Canaveral, and then you had to go the length of that great big huge terminal building at Terminal 3. And I'm saying that building's at least a quarter of a mile long. I mean, it's huge. You had to walk all the way to the end. Then you had to turn and go inside and walk all the way out to the street, which was probably close to another quarter of a mile. So I'm figuring I did at least 5 miles yesterday. And of course, Scooter did it fine. But boy, I tell you what, it was a dream to do that in Port Canaveral. Man, the sidewalks were smooth the whole way. Every intersection, every cross street had very nice, well-maintained ramps. There were no breaks, no bumps, no nothing. It was just really good. So, and then the scooter went, 5 miles or so. So it was pretty awesome. Okay. Back with today's news after a quick word from one of our network sponsors. All right. The top story today, and there are a couple kind of rough stories, I guess you might say. A 63-year-old woman was reported overboard. A spokesman from the Washington Department of Transportation told ChilliesCruises this morning that a 63-year-old woman was rescued by Washington State ferry crews after they said she had fallen or jumped into Elliott Bay this weekend. The accident happened on the Seattle Bainbridge Island route just after 1 p.m. off of Alki Beach in West Seattle. Crew members were able to get her back on the ship to be evaluated by Seattle Fire Department medics. The woman was suffering from light hypothermia and was taken to the Harborview Medical Center and currently is listed in stable condition. So congratulations on the work well done there in Seattle, Washington on a ferry. This story didn't have quite such a good ending. 2 crew bodies were found by divers on the second day of searching after a tugboat capsized and sank off of Scotland's coast this weekend while escorting the Hebridean Princess into dock at Greenock Harbor, which is Glasgow. Rescue crafts from numerous ships in the area raced to the Firth of Clyde after the alarm was raised at 3:30 p.m. Officials revealed there were 2 on board when the boat capsized. According to rescue teams, the surface search was terminated at 8 p.m. Police divers resumed the search on Saturday morning and, of course, made the discovery of the 2 deceased crewmen. No further information on the deceased has been released, and an investigation into the causes of the accident are ongoing. All right. The next story this morning, things got out of order here. What the hell's going on here? The city of Galveston is looking for a new revenue stream to offset the expenses generated by its booming cruise industry. So they finalized a new surcharge on cruise tickets sold by Royal Caribbean. Plus, Galveston is negotiating with Carnival and Disney to do the same. So they've added a surcharge. Now, before you get your all knotted up in a twist, it's only 50 cents per ticket, 50 cents per person. and it will generate funds that will be earmarked for infrastructure improvements and other priorities as decided by the city council. Of course, that means it's getting into politics, and who knows what's going to happen with that. But anyway, so a 50-cent surcharge is being added in Galveston. After a 3-year stoppage, foreign operated cruise ship arrivals to Japan will start again next week at near the level before the COVID crisis. Out of 42 major ports, 89 arrivals are scheduled at 23 ports across the country, and discussions are being carried on by local governments and cruise ship operators for arrivals at the other ports. Before the shutdown in March, Japan saw a total of 125 dockings at 42 ports. So they're not quite where they were, but they're getting close. 89 to 125, and in cruise ports, they're still the same number of cruise ports. So they're getting there. So it looks like they're going to end up having the same numbers that they had before the shutdown. The recovery reflects tourism promotion by local municipalities in Japan and China's suspending reception of international travelers. Out of 2.15 million who visited Japan on cruise ships back in 2019, 80% were from China. All right. Our friends over at Princess Cruise Line, coffee lovers will be ecstatic about this because Princess' newest addition to the beverage package lineup is new Grounds Coffee package, which covers espresso-based beverages and teas. The package is now available fleet-wide, but costs and other items may vary depending on the ships and the length of the cruise and its itinerary. All right. Norwegian, I actually have two stories from Norwegian this morning. They have unveiled starting the 7th season of Meet the Winemaker. This unique program offers wine enthusiasts an exclusive opportunity to engage with celebrated winemakers and culinary experts through various seminars and activities on board NCL ships. And of course, the opportunity to just buy some wine. And this one just, I get angry sometimes, folks, and I go off the deep end. And once again, it's aimed at Norwegian. Guests booked on board the June 8th sailing of the Norwegian Sky will have dramatically different itineraries than originally planned. Ports of call have been rearranged, and the length of every single port stay has been adjusted for a radical loss of time in port, all in the name of the cruise line's global sustainability program, Sail and Sustain. Once they're given us a reason for doing something, I'm all in favor of the sustainability program, folks. I'm just tired of, especially Norwegian, but all the cruise lines coming up with these idiotic changes when they should have been done when they originally made the schedule. On the itinerary for this cruise, and it's one cruise, folks. It's not all of the cruises that are going on this this route. It's one cruise ship, one cruise. They're stopping at Great Stirrup Cay, San Juan, St. Martin, St. John, St. Kitts, St. Thomas, and Puerto Plata. All the same ports of call are remaining on the cruise, but the itinerary has been rearranged, with Great Stirrup Cay moving from the first port of call to the last port. Likewise, Puerto Plata has been moved from the end of the original itinerary to the first port of call for the rearranged cruise. The remaining 5 ports of call for the sailing will be on the same days, but every single port has lost time. Great Stirrup Key was supposed to be from 7 to 4, now to 10 to 6:30, so you lose 30 minutes. San Juan from 10 to 6 originally, now from 11 to 7, so you lose 2 hours. St. Martin from 8 to 8, now 9 to 6, you lose 3 hours. St. John from 8 to 8 originally, it's now going to be from 8 to 4, you lose 4 hours. Excuse me. St. Kitts was supposed to be 8 to 8. It's now going to be 8 to 4. You lose 4 more hours. St. Thomas from 7 to 3:30 originally, now from 7 to 2. You lose an hour and a half. Puerto Plata from 11 to 6, now from 10 to 8. So you actually gain an hour on that one. My whole point, folks, in being upset about this is, one, you're losing all those hours. Absolutely no reason for it, especially since this is on one cruise. If they're going to do this on all the cruises, fine, then do it. Really put some teeth in your sustainability program. But to cherry pick one cruise and change it just to get a little publicity, I don't go for that. Again, take all the cruises that are going on that with that itinerary, change all of them. Then you've done something. Or even better, when you did your schedule, have all this stuff figured in. Been talking about sustainability issues for how many years now? 8, 9 years, 10 years, way before you made the schedule for 2023 and 24 and 25. That's one of the things I get upset about. And I try not to get upset when I'm on a cruise. If things go wrong, if maybe you had a meal that wasn't the best, or maybe somebody didn't mix a drink the way you like it, or, I don't like that, not Norwegian, I'm on Royal Caribbean. Royal Caribbean has made the menu changes. I don't get my shrimp cocktails every night like I like. You all guys all know that. And that's one of the changes, that they don't have shrimp cocktails every night. You can only get one lobster now. You have to pay for a second one. Okay, I can buy that. But the alternative is I wouldn't be on a cruise. I'd rather be on the cruise. Okay, yeah, there's some things that maybe I don't like, but I'm not going to complain about them because I'm on a cruise, for heaven's sakes. I hate people that find all the little nitpicky things and complain about it. Okay, go home. It's pretty simple. I don't know. If you're going to cruise, be happy. I'm happy. I don't care. All right, that's going to wrap up the news portion of today's show. So let's jump over and see who might be in the chat room today, fussing at me for goodness knows what. Let's see. Let's go back up here to the top. Good heavens, boy, there's a lot of comments today. Yo, Eddie's in the house. MC's with us from Parts Unknown. IMC, Mike's here. Dennis is here. Hey, Dennis. Cindy's with us. Nikki from Jacksonville. Nikki will be happy because I'll be on the air early tomorrow morning. She can drink some coffee while she watches. Hot Air Tom's with us. What do you know? Long lost Hot Air Tom has been found. He's gotten out of the desert where he was trying to get a job as a camel jockey, but he never could find a camel. And now he's in Israel wailing at the wall. Sonny's with us. Hi, Sonny, down Mississippi. Hot Air says, we gained another hour over the weekend, so we are now only 7 hours ahead of Chillie. How about that? So at 6 p.m. there, so you haven't completely ruined your dinner hour by watching me. So, anyway, that's quite a trip Hot Air's been on. Nikki says the Strawberry Festival in Plant City, Florida, is March 2nd to the 12th. Strawberries are available in stores now. Okay, I stand corrected. I was thinking on Virginia climate, because we don't start getting strawberries. Can't grow strawberries until I guess maybe they start in April, late April to early May, somewhere on that neighborhood. How about some sweet prices? Yikes. The balcony prices of that on my 18-day cruise was not much more than that for balcony. Oh yeah, the balcony prices for Alaska are just, to me, they're way too expensive. And that's on everybody. At least we've got some bargains for those that'll, go on an Alaska cruise at a reasonable price and maybe not have the absolute top-notch accommodations. Although I'm perfectly happy, I'm in an inside cabin on this cruise. Doesn't bother me in the least. It's quiet. I get a lot of work done as long as I have a good Wi-Fi signal. And man, this is another thing on Enchantment of the Seas. This Wi-Fi signal has been really great. By the way, folks, I didn't mention it earlier. I'm on deck 6, right near the art gallery. You can probably see some art in the background. And it was nice and quiet because everybody is ashore, because they have now developed the program on CocoCay. Like, there's stuff constantly all day long that's planned, activities on CocoCay. So they've upped that since I was here last fall. The other thing, this is the first time I've been here with another big ship, because Oasis of the Seas is right next door. So there's 2 ships here today. So it's going to be interesting. I am going to go ashore as soon as the show's over, just to see how busy it is. I mean, I've been to CocoCay how many times? A dozen times now or something. So there's not anything I want to do there. Although I might go around to the cookout and have a burger or something while I'm there, or maybe go to what's the crazy bar's name? But anyway, have an adult beverage or 2. I might do that as well. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead shortly. So I did that. I buy the strawberry from farmers markets. The farmers pick them the day before, and when you bite into them, they're red all the way through, not white inside. Wow, that's nice, like they are from the supermarkets. Yeah, I enjoy going to them. We have a little farmers market. Nothing like the really nice ones. I did go through part of the Charleston city market. I was expecting it to be more of a farmer's market type, but it wasn't. It was more, crafts and shopping type stuff, junk, I call it. But it's huge. I mean, that's one of the biggest markets I've ever been in. I just wish they'd fix the sidewalks. Man, my butt's still sore from bouncing around those streets. That was awful. But again, I don't want to discourage any of my disability community. I did it. You can do it. You just got to be really careful, because if you're not, you could really, hurt yourself, hurt somebody else, hurt your transportation, whether it's scooter, chair, or manual chair or power chair. You got to be really careful, because it is really rough, but it can be done. And I had a wonderful drink and a couple of adult beverages in Charleston. But yeah, it was so much nicer in Port Canaveral yesterday. Oh, my stars. that was a totally different world. They're fully ripened in the field, which now their nutrients mature. That's nice. I like strawberries. I love them. I've never seen traffic as bad as it is in Israel. Yeah, Otter mentioned that earlier this morning. Kenneth's with us. Good morning, Kenneth. I'm in Pennsylvania. Tom, there's a new metro line from Jerusalem to Tel Aviv. Tom, is it even worse in New York City? Kenneth wants to know. Tom says he thinks it is. Yes, it is, Kenneth. Wow. I saw the new bridge for the rail in Jerusalem. There's Carol. Carol says hello, Chillie and everybody. Good morning, Carol. We are in Ashdod Port through, which is south of Tel Aviv, Haifa tomorrow. Tom, did you have any good hummus in Jerusalem? Amy says, howdy, everybody. Hi, Amy. Kurt Brunson, YouTube and Facebook channel. Hi, Tom. I'm back from the MSC cruise. I have a head cold and chest congestion. Now, I'm sorry to hear about that, Kurt. Kirk, make a healing elixir of here goes Dennis with his elixir. And I tell you what, Kirk, it works. I did it, and it helped me when I had the sniffles when I came back from one of my trips. Peel and chop a finger of fresh raw ginger, steep in hot water for 12 to 15 minutes with a tablespoon of ground turmeric. Trader Joe's has the best price at half price. Add the fresh squeezed juice from a whole lemon and raw honey to sweeten. Drink 4 cups throughout the day, and you will feel better the next day. And I will say, it worked. At least it worked for me. It's a pain in the butt to fix all that. I had to send Amanda out twice to get stuff. MC says those global sustainability changes are great for customers. Less time in port, lower port fees, slower sailing speeds, less fuel costs. I'm sure MCL will pass on those savings to customers. Oh, Elizabeth, I feel the big one coming. They ain't passing on savings to anybody. I didn't see anything about them refunding any port charges on this change. I mean, what was it? I think the total was something like 18 hours that they're losing in port. It'd be interesting to question if they're going to actually refund the port charges. That was one of the things that I fought with them about on the breakaway when I was on it a couple of weeks ago. We had a port that was canceled because they couldn't dock because of the winds. They weren't going to refund the money unless you went to guest services and requested it. And then you had to wait. They didn't just give it right back in your account. You had to wait like 24 hours. But you had to go to guest services specifically and request it. They didn't just blanket refund it. I thought that was kind of chinchy too, but that's me. Hot Air says no hummus today, but I did have a very tasty pot roast beef in the lunch buffet in Jerusalem. Had some hummus on my Nile lunch cruise in Luxor, Egypt. I can't wait to see the pictures from Hot Air Tom's travels on this one. And I would never pay for Caribbean lobster tails, which most cruise lines serve, Maine lobster or go home. Well, yeah, I would much prefer having Maine lobster as well, but like you, I'm not going to pay for it. I mean, so I think it's maybe it's no, it's not tonight while we're in port. Probably the next sea day. That'll be Wednesday. Wednesday and Thursday both are sea days. Going back to Baltimore. I think Wednesday night might be lobster night. You get one, and they're small, and they're not very good, or at least they haven't been the last couple cruises I've been on. But I'm not going to pay extra for another one. It was one thing when I could get 2 or 3 and, end up with one decent sized lobster tail. Kurt says thanks, but I think a couple of shots of Crown Royal sounds better. Kurt's right after mine. It's what I did too. I'm just telling you, Kirk, it worked because I was struggling. I couldn't get rid of that crud, whatever you want to call it. I tested myself because I kept thinking, I surely have COVID. Now, I was doing testing every day there for about a week. Never did test positive. So, schnitzel and falafel are the other popular dishes. Falafel. Did I say that wrong? Schnitzel and falafel. There's Katie. Yeah, we had a good time with Katie yesterday. Great having lunch with you. I agree, Katie. I thoroughly enjoyed that. Got back on the ship with no problems. And I did some more running around the ship before I finally had to charge up the scooter. Last night, after dinner, I ran back up to the room as I take my prednisone after I eat. So I went up to get my pills, and it finally gave up the ghost right at the door to my cabin. So my room guy was there. So we pushed the scooter in, and I sat there for an hour and charged it up because I missed the show. But I was going to meet some folks for an adult beverage after the show. So I went on and did that. But yeah, that scooter went through quite a bit yesterday. So, but yeah, that was great fun, and that was terrific food. And I know, Katie, that the owner of Rusty's, sending him some business. My friends that are on this ship are on it for the next 2 sailings. So they're coming back here, and they have friends that live Cocoa Beach or, I don't know. It's a little bit away from Port Canaveral, but let's say it's an hour drive. Well, they picked them up yesterday and then took them back to where they live to have lunch and then brought them back. So those people had to make 4 trips, here to pick them up, back home, had lunch, brought them back, then they had to go back home again. So they said, hey, listen, we're going to short the trip for them. And next time that they're in Port Canaveral, they're going to have them come pick them up like they did yesterday and drive the 1.9 miles around the corner and go to Rusty's after I raved about not only the food, but the cocktails. And I'll tell you this, folks, Rusty's seafood and oyster bar yesterday. I had good, I like good bourbon. I don't like any of the cheap, hard bourbons, I call them. So I had Bullet, which is a, very good bourbon. Bullet, I know you guys, nobody likes this, but I mix it with Diet Coke, and I get it tall. I get it tall because I prefer it weak. I'd rather have a couple drinks weak than one that's so strong that I'm miserable drinking it. So my drinks were $6.50 each. I haven't bought good bourbon for $6.50. Man, I don't know, for years. I mean, it's always $10 plus. it can be $12, $13, $14 in some places. So I'm going to go back to that same place every time I'm at Port Canaveral now, just to have the drinks, and I love the food there too. So that was a good outlet. I'm glad I went. Hot Air says I was given some Medi Lemon by a South African Park West crew on the Bliss in 2019. Good for ending the cold sinus issue. Chillie warned everyone not to buy art on board any ship. Same with watches and jewelry, and never buy the deadly Mexican vanilla Boston port. Yeah, I'm well aware of that. I can't believe the art does so well on ships, actually. Kurt says, Tom, I took a couple days off work and took 2 COVID tests, and they were all negative. Very good, Kurt. Glad to hear that. I avoid farmers market that allow resellers. Always try to support the local farmers. Absolutely. By the way, the MSC Seascape is a beautiful ship. I agree, Kurt. I like the Seascape. I had some issues with accessibility issues on Seascape, but the ship itself was gorgeous. I did fine with food on it, service. Consider I was on the first cruise, the inaugural. And I realized that everybody didn't have their act together yet, but they did a pretty good job. So my only issues, and it's the same issues that I've had with MSC on several other ships, is the inconsistency with their accessibility approach. But yeah, that is one gorgeous ship. Hot Air says, how about Madagascar vanilla? What's wrong with the vanilla in Mexico? I have heard that quite often is poisonous. And I'd heard that before, which I have a feeling that's what Dennis was referring to. The wait is killing me. 5 days until my cruise. It's getting here, Cindy. Be patient. Madagascar vanilla is very good. Check Capsizes. Cindy, Mexican vanilla is a scam and toxic. There are a rabbit hole of many reports and warnings when you do a search. Okay. Chillie, that's a class action lawsuit with them keeping the charges for canceled ports. Now, I think I do. And I know several people that refused to go stand in line, that getting $10 back was just not worth it. But I mean, if that's their policy and they do that all the time, every time they have a port cancellation, eventually, yeah, that's going to catch up with them. And that's why I'm just wondering on this the itinerary changes like that. If the port charge, I'm not sure how port charges are assessed, but if it's assessed on the time in port, then yeah, if you're losing 4 hours in port, the port charges are going to be different. So, Hot Air says, Chillie, we need to book a Haven suite on the big ship with the Haven restaurant. Lobster is no charge, and you can get more than one. Yeah, but see, Hot Air time, you spend money that I don't have. You're rich, I'm poor. So, my channel is growing a little bit, folks. I got past 3,400 finally. That was a good sign. I need to get to 10,000 by tomorrow. That's the goal. 10,000 tomorrow or bust. So, yeah. Ain't gonna happen either. Then it says 10. I rated the the restaurant yesterday as a 10. I don't give them very often, but yeah, I did Rusty's, did their little shorts video on that last night and rated them a 10. The only good bit aboard the onboard art auctions is the fees. I've never been to one of the auctions even. But all is Mexican vanilla unsafe, but it's not even genuine vanilla. Chillie, you should gather all the creators from the cruise and file a class action lawsuit. That's big money. Yeah, I'm really surprised. Some of the ongoing creators that were on there are not real interested in doing this again. I thought it was pretty successful, but then I wasn't under the gun like, some of the big hitters were. MC says, I was being sarcastic. Wait a minute, I keep trying to slide this up with my finger. I was being sarcastic above. I don't believe for 1 second that the NCL will refund anything voluntarily. I knew you were being sarcastic, MC, and I agree totally with it. This ain't going to happen. Guaranteed. Nikki says, hope you feel better soon. I agree with that. All right, guys, that's going to wrap me up for today. Thank all of y'all for being with me. It was a very active chat room today. I love that. That's just terrific. I'm noticing that the lighting here is not the best in the world, so I'm a little dark and kind of changes. So maybe this wasn't the best place to do the show, but I like being out here with people walking around. Of course, there's not a whole lot of people on the ship right now, so I'm going to go ashore here shortly. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning. I'm going to do the show early tomorrow because I am going to spend some time ashore in Freeport and see how the construction project, if they started doing any of that stuff yet, on Grand Bahama Island. So we're going to go ashore tomorrow in Freeport and do a little exploring. I'll report back on whatever I find a perfect day at CocoCay later on today. So that's going to wrap me up for today, folks. I'll be back bright and early tomorrow morning. So you guys all have a fantastic day. And as always, stay safe, stay healthy. Think about cruising. Hopefully one day soon we'll all get together on the high seas. This is the old fat travel guy. Later, guys. See you tomorrow.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner. Hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chilliescruises.